This is where the fun begins.
Hello there.
What's going on, guys? Unofficial Star Wars here. Hope you're all doing well. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about the ObI Wan Kenobi show and Darth Vader's potential role here in the upcoming series. So without further ado, we're going to hop right on into it. In a recent interview with Entertainment Weekly, the ObI Wan Kenobi show director Deborah Chow teased what fans could expect here with Darth Vader's returning in the upcoming Disney Plus ObI Wan Kenobi show. Today's video, I'm going to be reading from the direct. I'll have their full article linked down in the description down below. Deborah Chow is also the director of a few of the Mandalorian episodes as well, so she's very reputable, very experienced, and has done an amazing work with the Star Wars franchise already. The full quote from Deborah Chow on Entertainment Weekly: honestly, for me, the starting place was that I really wanted to do something that was character-based and character-driven, because that is the benefit of the limited series, is that you have more time to sort of tell a real character story. And so for me, the starting place of a character is where you just start and look at who has been important to him in his life. And it is quite hard to avoid Anakin / Darth Vader in this scenario, especially coming out of Revenge of the Sith. So it really came out of evolution of this character for me. It wasn't just to sort of bring him back type of thing. It was really like who means something and where at this point in the timeline with Darth Vader. Now, there is another quote here I'm going to read to you guys in just a few minutes here. Let's talk a little bit about this. It's more or less about her idea of not necessarily forcing a Star Wars story. I mean, no hate towards the sequels and the Rise of Skywalker, but let's face it, there's no point in bringing back Palpatine and that kind of point in time in the timeline of the Star Wars franchise, or really at all to really reckon or connect with the story at that point in time, honestly. Sure, in a sense, they did kind of clean it up a little bit, and it kind of does make a little bit of sense, but it's just not quite there completely, and it feels forced is the main thing. No pun intended with the Force and Star Wars. And that kind of also connects to a previous video that we had here on the channel with the idea of possibly bringing back Maul, and in that sense, it was actually a scrapped script, or part of the original script for the ObI Wan Kenobi show. And so far, as of what we do know, is that that original script was, of course, scrapped, and it did involve Darth Maul and his connections. Now, sure, the characters of ObI Wan Kenobi and Darth Maul are very connected, and they have quite a previous history together. However, in the sense of the timeline of where this is taking place in the Star Wars universe, taking place 10 years after the events of Revenge of the Sith, and his previous connections with Anakin Skywalker and Darth Vader in Revenge of the Sith, it just makes sense to bring back Darth Vader. Go big or go home type of thing. And this was also a thing that it's been kind of murmuring and rumored around here and being kind of talked about a little bit here and there from different Star Wars content creators and Star Wars fans, is that the idea of Darth Vader being brought back was kind of like one of the first things that the creative team was telling Deborah Chow to do. The Direct's article goes on to say, with the return of Anakin Skywalker's Sith persona comes with the return of the actor behind him, Hayden Christensen. Deborah Chow mentioned he's absolutely wonderful, and because he has lived for so long, his character in that sense, he was helpful to have a creative side as well. End quote right there. Hold on, let me just make that sense for you guys. In quotes, lived for such a long time with the character. He has a wonderful creative side to exactly knowing what Anakin Skywalker / Darth Vader's character is exactly about. That's referring to Hayden Christensen and him actually being a part of the Star Wars franchise since 2005, Revenge of the Sith. So in a sense, it's like Deborah Chow saying that he knows this character probably better than me, so it's really cool to see that she is taking some creative directions here from the actors themselves. This also is probably going to go for Ewan McGregor as well. There's a full quote here coming from Deborah Chow on the Entertainment Weekly, working with Hayden Christensen. He's absolutely lovely, and he's absolutely wonderful, and Canadian. So the first time I met him was actually in Toronto, and it was really nice because met up in Canada, and obviously both with people like Ian and Hayden, they've been these characters for so long, and they absolutely did them in the prequels, and they've lived with this character in their lives for a long time, in that they just know this character so well, which makes it wonderful in terms of the creative drive here. End quote right there. So of course it does seem like that everybody that's worked on the show, Deborah Chow, Ewan McGregor, Hayden Christensen, they all of course like each other. It's just such a wholesome thing to see there, and it's even more wholesome, as I had already mentioned. It's such a nice thing to see that Deborah Chow is kind of taking a creative vision from the actors themselves and kind of trusting them with these characters, because they know these characters. They've played these characters since 2005 Revenge of the Sith or 2002 with Attack of the Clones. They kind of know what they're doing and kind of who they're working with. Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen really know how to bring these characters to life, and in the best vision possible. In the Direct's article, she continued to say when Vader first showed up on set, it was, in quotes, a very interesting moment for her, end quote right there, especially how it showcased quotes from Deborah Chow, different generations and how they connect to Star Wars, end quote right there. And that is such a powerful thing with Darth Vader and his overall character in the Star Wars franchise. I mean, he's just a complete icon. When you think of Star Wars, the first thing you're going to probably think of is Darth Vader. In quotes from Deborah Chow, obviously Hayden was going to be a part of the series, and when he first came onto set for us, it definitely had a very special feeling. And it was a really interesting moment for me because you really started to see the different generations and how they connect to Star Wars and the franchise, where you have a generation that grew up with the prequels first, and with Hayden, it's a totally different thing for them with the generation that grew up with the originals, and that there's a younger generations with the new ones. So it felt really special bringing him back, and obviously I'm Canadian and he's Canadian, so that was also a very heartwarming thing for me. We were having some Canadian pride on that day, end quote there from Deborah Chow on Entertainment Weekly. Again, it's just awesome to see how I'm guessing that Deborah Chow and Hayden Christensen are able to bond so much, not only over the series and Star Wars, but just also personal life type of things, like both being from Canada, of course. This has kind of been a thing in the Star Wars, I guess, franchise when it comes to directing and producing these shows and series, movies, whatever the case may be. It is such a cool thing to see producers or writers or directors actually get to work with these actors or actresses in that sense, and to see how these people that are working behind the scenes are actually extremely huge fans, probably just as big as fans as we are as content creators and Star Wars fans as well. The Direct's article also says Deborah Chow noted that working with Christensen was, in quotes, pretty significant, end quote there, especially since the character of Darth Vader / Anakin Skywalker, end quotes, is almost part of our consciousness, end quote there, coming from Deborah Chow. And more quotes here coming from Deborah Chow on working with Hayden Christensen, end quotes. But I know that for Darth Vader, it's something that it's almost part of our consciousness because we've all had it in our lives for such a long time that to actually see him on set, it's a pretty sort of significance. It's actually kind of moving, end quote there, coming from Deborah Chow on Entertainment Weeklies. Now, aside from working with Hayden Christensen and all of that good stuff, of course, we have some new quotes here coming from Deborah Chow on Entertainment Weekly for what kind of Darth Vader we're actually going to see here for the upcoming Disney Plus series, and that the director actually revealed that, in quotes, he isn't in the New Hope type of Vader quite yet, end quote there. The full quote here coming from Deborah Chow on Entertainment Weekly, quote, "For us, it's very similar to Obi-Wan in the sense that he's in the between of these two trilogies of the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy. So he isn't quite a New Hope Vader quite yet, you know what I mean? So you have the character sort of in the middle of this period. It is still Darth Vader, obviously, but it's Vader that isn't quietly formed that we see in A New Hope." End quote there. So what we can kind of take away from that is the power level of Darth Vader is what I'm assuming is that he isn't necessarily completely known or as feared as you might exactly think. And of course, I'm guessing that this show is going to pull plenty of different kind of things going on from the Darth Vader comics. To be completely honest and fair with you guys, not that I've completely sat down and actually read all of those because I just don't have that type of interest when it comes to reading. But this is definitely a huge connecting part and piece of, I guess, timeline that we have here in the Star Wars franchise. And this goes not only for the ObI Wan Kenobi show, but this goes for other shows that are taking place between the prequels and the fall of the Republic and the rise of the Empire here. This can go for the Bad Batch season 2 and seasons that so forth and so on, go on from there, or for the Cassian Andor show, which in my thoughts and opinions I think has to be one of the most underhyped shows yet here for the Star Wars franchise. Same thing can even go for the Lando Calrissian show that's yet to be actually have its first look or anything like that. That was announced almost 2 years ago now at, I'm pretty sure it was a Disney's Investors Day. There is definitely a good 15, 20, 18 years there that is there to kind of fill up. There's stuff that's going on here between these two trilogies that we just don't know, and to furthermore see that they're kind of morphing and molding that these characters are kind of where they're at in this timeline for the Star Wars franchise, I think it's going to make the ObI Wan Kenobi show all that much better, without a doubt. This isn't going to be the same Obi-Wan that you see here in the prequels or the Clone Wars show for that's making jokes and that type of stuff, or the same Darth Vader that you might see in Return of the Jedi, that his power level is just so strong and so imitating and so menacing, it just isn't completely there. And to see that transition, I think is going to be a lifetime of an experience. So as I had mentioned at the beginning of the video, I'm going to have the full article for the Direct linked down in the description down below. Of course, I want to know of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. What do you guys think here about Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor, for one thing, returning here for the ObI Wan Kenobi show to the Star Wars franchise, and for another thing here to kind of see that that I'm guessing like that morphing and that kind of in between here for these characters, and that in between here that we have here for these two time periods and the two trilogies here. I want to know all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. Drop a like in the video if you enjoy it, as it really just helps with the channel, and check out our Instagram, unofficial Star Wars, for more Star Wars related content. Guys, thanks so much for watching today's video. As always, may the force be with you. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a great day or night. Peace out.